Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to explain a few basic concepts that Ben Böhmer uses in his live setup so that everything that Ben talks about makes perfect sense to everyone, including those who are just starting out with their music careers. You can find Ben's video on the Production Music Live YouTube channel. My name is Attila from the 16 Bar Studio, and in the next few minutes we are talking Ableton Session View 101, so let's dive in. Ben in his live sets uses Ableton Session View, a function which Ableton originally got famous for. The Session View was designed for the quick development of ideas in the form of MIDI and audio clips. These clips then later can be recorded into the arrangement view to create a full song arrangement. The Session View is also a brilliant layout for live performance because it makes it super easy to launch stem-based clips and to manipulate them on the fly. By the way, if you want to learn more about how to use Ableton Session View, leave us a comment here or on Ben's video on the PML YouTube channel, or alternatively you can send us an email to info@productionmusiclive.com or info@the16bar.com. In that course, we could cover all aspects of how to use the Session View, even the hidden gems, and how to set it up for a live performance pretty much the same way as Ben shows it to you in his video. So give us a quick yes or no if you would want to see that in one of Production Music Live's next masterclasses. As you can see in Ben's video, he breaks up his songs into different stems and uses those stems in separate tracks here in the Session View. This allows him to manipulate not just the overall sound of the song, but to change the entire arrangement on the fly by bringing these elements in and out as the live performance requires. So let's have a quick look at our Ableton session right here, and I'll explain it to you what I did. So first and foremost, we have a Production Music Live Ableton template, more specifically the PML Sun Vibes. And this is a song that was created sort of in the genre that Ben specializes in. Let's have a quick listen. Alright, very nice. So like I said before, what Ben does, he uses stems of his songs, which eventually he transfers into Ableton Session View. Right now we're in the arrangement view, and I just wanted to show you how I turned this PML template into 8 separate stems. So these are 8 separate song elements. As you can see, we have one for the kick drum, one for the claps, hats, second set of hats, percussive elements, the bass, the main pluck, and the pads. So basically all these tracks that you are seeing down here in this massive Ableton template have been condensed into 8 stems. And again, if that's something that you would like to learn more about, leave us that comment or send us that email, because we would love to make this masterclass for you for sure. So if I switch back and forth between the 8 stems and now the template itself, as you can hear, they sound the same. Okay, now how can we transfer these stems into the Session View so we can take advantage of the Session View's features? Well, there are a few ways to do that. So I'm going to show you a couple of quick ones. We are going to highlight all the stems, and you can do that by selecting the first one and then shift selecting the last one, and that's going to highlight all of them. So now that we have everything selected, let's have a look at our Session View real quick, and you can toggle back and forth between Ableton's arrangement and Session View with the tab key on your keyboard. And as you can see, at this moment, we don't have any clips in our Session View. So let's transfer these. I'm going to come back. I'm going to click and hold the mouse button on one of these. And then I'm going to tap the tab button again. And as you can see, now I can sort of import those stems from the arrangement view to our Session View. There's another way of doing this. Let's say we want to import a section of the song. So we don't want to import the full length stems, but we want to import loops of it. So I'm going to highlight an area here and then quickly put the loop bracket around it. And you can do that by Control or Command on a Mac plus the L key. And as you can see, now the whole section that I highlighted is looped. Now, if you right click on the loop bracket up here and then you go consolidate time to new scene, what Ableton is going to do, it's going to take these short loops that we selected there, it's going to consolidate them and it's going to place them in a new scene in our session view. So if I open one of these, let's say the claps, as you can see, this clip over here is the full song length clip that we imported from the session view. The second one is a loop, and as you can see, it's being looped. So now essentially we have two scenes in this session view. The first scene, scene number 1, has all the song stems, which are the full length stems, and scene number 2 has all the looped portions of them that we also imported from the arrangement view. So now basically we have a mock-up of a song in band style arranged in the session view in much in the same way as band does it. So let's look at some essentials. Okay, so let's talk about the session view and the differences between the session and arrangement view real quick. Switching between the arrangement view and the session view, you will see that your regular components such as the transport bar or the browser area, they remain the same. The track controls such as volume fader, pan knobs, send dials, mute and solo functions are also the same, though arranged in a different manner. So in the arrangement view, we have everything on the right-hand side of the tracks. Everything is flowing from the left to the right. And in the arrangement view, we have our clips. Everything is flowing from the top to the bottom. The tracks have the exact same components, the same insert effects as their arrangement view counterparts, and they follow each other in the same order as in the arrangement view, except here they go from left to right, as opposed to going from top to bottom. Okay, so if I select the track of the kick drum and I toggle from the clip view to the device view, which you can do with the key combination of Shift and Tab, you'll see that we have a EQ8. Now if I switch back to the arrangement view and again select the kick track, you'll see that we have the same EQ8. So what are some of the differences between the arrangement view and the session view? Well, in the session view, there is no linear overall view of the song's timeline. Instead, what you get are clips. Now, these clips, in our case, represent our stems from the arrangement view. These clips can be audio clips or MIDI clips. Now, in the arrangement view, if you start playing your Ableton session, all the tracks must play together. So there is no way of playing one clip only. I mean, yes, you can solo it, but still the other ones are still playing. In contrast to the session view, where you can launch individual clips. So in the session view, we can launch and stop our clips independently from each other. Okay, another thing that's different from the arrangement view is in the arrangement view on one track, there can only be one clip. Whereas in the session view, we can have multiple copies of clips. Now I can duplicate this with the key combination of Control or Command on a Mac plus D. And now we are looking at the second clip here. So I can update this clip in any which way I please. And as you can see, it's going to be different from the original one. You can also create brand new ones if you just want to do something different. And this is why I was saying that the session view is an amazing tool if you want to come up with quick ideas. Here we go. This is one clip. Now I'm going to duplicate it again. Let's transpose this. Now if I launch the second one, here I can juggle these around. First clip, second clip. And you can have as many copies of these as you want with as many variations as you please to make. Now, another big difference is the behavior of the play button. Okay, so in the session view, when I hit play, it will start playing back from the point where our playhead was set in the arrangement. But in the session view, when you hit the play button, you will only hear clips playing that have already been launched. So right now we don't have any of the clips playing, so we're not hearing anything. If I start launching these clips, to launch clips, you can click on the clips play button. Or for this, you can also use a MIDI controller such as the Ableton Push 2. And I think it's important to mention that only one clip can play at any given time inside of one track. Clips that are not looped will stop playing after they've played through once. Loops, on the other hand, will keep playing until they're stopped. So, as you can remember, our first scene here contains clips that are not looped. So these are the full song length stems, and we don't have the loop set, so they are going to play from beginning to end only. And the ones from the second scene are looped versions of them. So as you can see, the loop is enabled. Now let me show you how you can tell whether a clip is looped or not. I mean, obviously one way is to look at the clip itself in the clip view and see if the loop is enabled or not. The other way is once you launch one of these clips, look at here, you will see a time counter. So a big horizontal block that counts down the remaining time of the clip itself. Now, if you launch a clip, that's a loop. The counter disappears and you're going to get this round display showing how much of the loop is remaining. And once it gets to the end of the loop itself, then it will reset and it will start playing the loop over and over again. You can stop clips using the stop buttons under the clips in a track. You can use the stop button on the track's header. Or you can stop all clips using the master track's stop button. Your clips will launch in time according to your settings in the global launch quantization menu. To access the global launch quantization menu, you go up here. So basically, currently it's set to 1 bar, which means if I launch a clip, when I launch the next clip, it's not going to start playing right away. It's going to wait until the end of the bar. And then it will start playing in time with the rest of the clips that have been launched. Now, Ben will mention about the follow action feature of Ableton and its clips. So let's have a quick look at those. The follow action feature basically allows you to determine what happens to a clip after it's finished playing or after a predetermined amount of time in the case of a looped clip. So to set up this function, you need to select a clip. And if you are in a device view for some reason, you can double click on a clip and it will open the clip view itself. Then we need to enable the launch tab, which is this L on the bottom left corner here. And this is going to open the launch window. And here on the bottom, you will find the follow action parameters. In the first line, you can set the amount of time it will take for the action to kick in musical time divisions. So bars, beats, and sixteenths. In the next line, you can choose from a variety of actions. So you can take no action, you can stop the clip from playing at the end of the time that you selected here. So let's say we set 2 bars. and I'm going to choose the next option, meaning that after 2 bars, this current clip is going to stop playing and it's going to switch to the next in line. So from here, it's gonna start playing the next one. Okay, and the last line is the probability, where you can set the probability of the action. So 0 means no action will ever happen, and 999 means it will always happen after the preset amount of time. Then of course you can set it anywhere in between to determine the likelihood of the action happening, and you can set some cool random sequences with that. So I set 2 bars, I set the next one, and I'm gonna put the probability up to 999 to make sure that it happens. And now see what happens when I launch this clip. It will start playing. The next one is already flashing, indicating that it's gonna start playing. And after the 2 bars, now it started playing this second clip. And let's do this again. I'm gonna use this clip here. Let's do 4 bars this time around. Let's pick any. And again, let's put the probability up to 999. So it's basically going to randomly choose one of the clips in the track. And again, I'm going to go back and start playing the first one that we set up. So this is going to switch after 2 bars. There we go. Now it switched to the bottom one. And now the bottom one selected this clip here to be launched after 4 bars. And there you have it. Now it's going. So using this follow action, you can get into some very deep and very cool arrangement methods, which unfortunately go way beyond the scope of this class. But like I said, if you want to learn more about it, leave us that comment or send us that email. That Max for Life device that you will see in Ben's video, again, is a more advanced way of using this follow action feature and on a scene level. So now let's talk a little bit about scenes. A horizontal collection of clips is called a scene. And these scenes can be launched in the rightmost track, which is the master track, with the play button. And they can be stopped with the stop button of the master track. Here in this track, like Ben will talk about it in his video, we can determine the tempo of each scene by typing in the BPM count after the scene's name, separated by a semicolon. So let's say I want to rename this first scene, which you can do with the key combination of Control or Command on a Mac plus the R key. First scene, and we are going to do semicolon. Let's do 125 BPM. Now I'm gonna jump to the next one. So I'm gonna name this one second scene, and we are gonna do, let's do something stupid, 140 BPM. Perfect. Okay. Let me open this up a little bit so we can see the names properly. So I'm gonna launch the first scene and then see what happens to the BPM counter on the left. You see it switched to 125. Now I'm going to switch to the next scene. And now we are going at 140 BPMs. So with this feature, you can assign different tempos to different scenes. So let's say on your first 4 scenes, you have your first song in your session and you want that to go at 120 beats per minute. So you're going to set it up this way. And then the next song that comes, you want it to play at 122. This is how you would set that up. So as soon as you launch this scene, it would switch from 120 to 122. Okay, now, if you want to do live performances like Ben does in his video or on the stage, you will undoubtedly need some MIDI controllers, some external MIDI controllers. So you can map some of these functions to them so you don't have to use your mouse, because that would be a bit ridiculous if we were trying to control everything from Ableton with a mouse while trying to live perform. That's just not gonna happen. Now, there's a good chance that you already have some sort of a MIDI controller at home. Maybe you have the Ableton Push 2, maybe you have a launch control, maybe you have another MIDI controller that you can utilize. So I very strongly recommend that you would set that up if you wanted to do live performances like this. And to explain Ben's mappings quickly, Every track in Ben's live session from Ableton is being controlled with one of the channels on his zone controllers. He has 3 of those controllers for a total of 12 channels. Here I'm using a Novation Launch Control XL in conjunction with the Ableton Push 2, and I have an 8-channel setup. So every track corresponds to one of the channels on the launch control, and the same tracks correspond to the same channels on the Push 2. The volume faders are MIDI mapped to the track's volume, and other various functions such as low cut or effect sense are mapped to the turn knobs. Now, to be able to map a function in Ableton to a MIDI controller, you need to open the MIDI map mode, and you can do that either by clicking on the little MIDI icon in the top right, or you can use the key combination of Control or Command on a Mac plus M. So this will open the MIDI map mode, and right now let's set up one of the mappings that Ben uses in his live setup. So we are on the kick drums track and we have an EQ8. What I want to do is map this first filter to this knob on the launch control. So what I need to do, this filter is controlled with the frequency parameter of the first node on this EQ8. So I'm gonna click on the frequency parameter, and then I'm gonna come to the launch control and I'm gonna move it a bit. You just have to move it a little bit so it recognizes it. And as you can see, it assigned that MIDI controller to this one function. So now, if I come out of the MIDI mapping mode, which again is Control or Command plus M, and I come back to the launch control, you'll see now that I'm controlling the low cut of this EQ8. Now, some of these controllers need to be within certain limits, like this one currently is going from 10 Hz to all the way up to 22 kHz, which is just a bit too wide of a range. So we can actually dial that in. Again, I'm gonna open the MIDI mapping, and as you can see, here is the frequency function that we just mapped, and it will show you that it's mapped from 10 Hz to 22 kHz. So I'm gonna change this from, let's say, 30 Hz to 1000 cycles, which is 1 kHz. Let's get out of the MIDI mapping mode, and now when I turn this knob, you'll see that the range changed from 30 to 1000 Hz. So let's solo and play our kick track. I'm gonna play the looped version. And now we have our low cut on the kick drum. So now we can control the volume of the kick track, and we can control the low cut. And just for repetition's sake, let's do the mappings on the pads track. So again, I'm gonna hit Control M. I'm gonna select the function that I want to map. I'm gonna move the controller that I want to map it to. I'm gonna do this again with Send C, Send B, and Send A. Now, I wanna make sure that the volume fader doesn't go any higher than 0 dB. So that's controller 384 down here on the bottom. So I'm gonna change the 6 to 0. Now our range is gonna be from -infinite to 0 dB. We can come out of the mapping mode right now. And now if I move around the controllers, you can see that they have been mapped to our external controller. Now, like I mentioned before, Ben uses this Max for Live device, which is called Follow Scene XL, to set up the order that his clips are being launched in his live set. But if you have a MIDI controller, such as the Push 2, you can choose to launch these clips individually. So here I have the Push 2 controller, and as you can see it on the screen, the section that is being controlled, the section of clips that is being controlled by the Push, is represented by this blue rectangle, which I can move around. with these buttons on the push. And the clips are also represented on the pads. So if I want to launch one of these clips, okay, so now we have a few clips playing. Can do a low cut. Now, this approach is a bit more hands-on, but it gives you the freedom to make any changes at any time, in any manner, as opposed to just following a certain order of clips being launched. So just experiment with it, see what works the best for you. Now, if you're interested in learning more about the Push 2, we created this massive masterclass with Production Music Live about this amazing controller. This video is actually a part of the Push 2 masterclass here on the Teachable platform, and it's also available on the Production Music Live web platform, so I suggest you go and check it out. So this is all I've got for this video, and I hope that after watching all this, if you go and see Ben's video on the PML YouTube channel, everything that Ben talks about will make perfect sense to you, even the advanced stuff. My name is Attila from the 16 Bar Studio. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you very soon. Cheers.